When it started to get late, we decided it was time to settle into our new home. Link wanted me to see it while there was still light. Then Salia went to fetch our horses. When she came back, we mounted and headed for the Lost Woods. Link and I waved goodbye just before we disappeared into the tunnel leading to the Lost Woods. We made our way through the maze of trees and into a large clearing. There stood the most beautiful house I had ever seen. My eyes were transfixed on the house as I dismounted. I ran up to the front of the house and looked it over. There was a white gate in the front with a fence that ran all the way around the house. A stable for horses was on the right side, a pen for sheep and pigs just off to the side near the front. There was a pasture behind the house to graze cows and horses in, and off to the left of the house was the well. The house itself was like a summer home. It was a light tan house with a white roof. The windows were monastery style, and the front door was brown with the carving of the Triforce symbol just below the greeting hole. And when I went inside, I was nearly blown away. The entire house was furnished. The living quarters had a wooden couch with cushions. A reading chair sat beside a fireplace. There was a book table beside the couch with an oil lamp on it. Candles in stands stood all around the room, while oil lamps hung from the walls. In the dining quarters stood a huge wooden table with 6 chairs around it. A small vase of flowers sat in the middle. The kitchen had all of the cooking supplies we would ever need. There was even a spice rack on the wall. A small icebox was in the corner, and another small fireplace was in the back for cooking. There was a spiral staircase that went up to the sleeping quarters. I walked up the staircase and went to see the sleeping quarters. When I reached the top, I noticed there were 5 doors. 4 were empty and 1 furnished. The one that was furnished was our bed chamber. There was an Edwardian bed, 3, with beautiful white silk sheets and pillows. A wooden chair sat off to the right, and a small table with an oil lamp sat to the left of the chair. Silk curtains lined the window, and a wardrobe closet door stood on the left side of the room. I was so overjoyed with the sight that when Link came up behind me, I threw my arms around him, told him I loved him, and kissed him passionately. I knew that this was the place we were going to raise our family. The place I was going to spend the rest of my life in. Link had given me a beautiful gift. A gift of love. A new life. A few months later, I was coming home from the castle after watching Link all day in the practice yards with his legion. He had spent the day teaching sword techniques to the people in his legion. I spent most of the day watching him until I started feeling a little sick. I had moved into the garden to sit down and rest when Zelda came to see me.
"You do not look well, my friend. Are you okay?"
Zelda said, looking worried. "I feel a little sick in the stomach, and I feel real tired," I said, as I held my stomach and tried to get up.
"Come, my friend, I will take you to the healer."
Zelda took my hand and led me towards the healer's chambers. When we got there, the healer had me lie on a table while she looked me over. After some time, she found out why I was not well. She told me I was pregnant.
Teenage mother means 9 months of trouble.
Zelda looked at me with shock as I was hit with joy. A rush of happiness ran through me. I looked at Zelda, and then I hugged her.
"Oh, goddesses, congratulations. Oh, Link will be so happy."
Zelda smiled at me as we hugged, and I felt warm inside.
"I must go and tell father."
Then Zelda took off to fetch the king. I turned my attention back to the healer. "How far along am I?" I asked. "About 2 months," the healer responded.
Then she handed me a small bag with herbs in it.
"Here are some herbs to counter the morning sickness and dizziness.
Make sure you take it easy. No real heavy activities. eat and drink a lot, and make sure you get enough sleep. And one piece of advice on a personal note, if you and your husband make love a lot while you're pregnant, you'll help make the baby stronger. Just no real heavy lovemaking. Keep it gentle, and come back to see me in 2 weeks. You may now leave. She gestured for me to get up, and I nodded at the healer as I got off the table and headed back to the palace garden. As I waited for Princess Zelda and her father, I put my hand on my belly and began to think to myself, oh my goddesses, I'm going to be mother. My firstborn, Link's child. A tear started to run down my cheek. He gave me this miracle, blessed us with a baby. I love him so much. Then tears of happiness started to stream down my face. I had a miracle growing inside me. Link and I made this new life together. We were truly blessed. Then I had Lily calling to me. Jenna, I just heard the news. Congratulations, I'm so happy for you. Link will be so happy when you tell him. How are you gonna tell him? Lily's grin nearly split her face. I looked at Lily and her pink aura seemed to grow brighter. I thought of lighting some candles, cooking a meal to create a romantic setting, and telling him over dinner. Lily flew in a circle. That is a great idea. I cannot wait to see the look on his face, Lily said as she chuckled at the thought of Link's expression after he was told. I sat and wondered how Link would take it. But I knew that he had always wanted a child, and I hoped the baby would be a boy, since that is what Link always wanted. Jenna, my daughter, I heard about thy pregnancy. Just then the king walked into the palace garden with Princess Zelda right behind him. The princess has just told me about thy new miracle. I ran over to him and gave the king a hug. The king looked into my eyes. His eyes were as gentle as ever. Congratulations, my daughter. Have thou told Link yet? I nodded no, but that I was going to tell him. Tonight over dinner. When you and Link have thy firstborn, I will have everyone in Hyrule attend to celebrate thy new life. A naming ceremony will also be held. It will be a blessed event. Then the king's smile seemed to grow. I'm going to be a grandfather, the king said as he smiled at me. His smile always warmed my soul. I was glad he was like a father to me, always gentle and caring. Now that I was to have a baby, it brought us even closer. We chit-chatted a little longer until the dizziness started to take hold. Then the king saw me to the gate, and I headed for home. When I reached home, I went straight to bathe. After I undressed, I looked down at my bare stomach. I put my hand gently on my belly and rubbed it up and down. There was a life growing inside of me, a miracle that Link gave me. The baby was going to be beautiful. Then I got in the tub and slid down into the water. I soaked my sore ankles and legs a while. Then I took the wash rag and cleaned up. After I washed up, I got out and dried off. I went to the wardrobe closet and selected a low-cut pink dress with long sleeves and the Triforce symbol over my right breast. A pink feathery lace ran underneath my breasts, and a crisscross pattern held the back together. I pulled my hair into a bun and went downstairs. I lit the candles around the room and the two on the table. Then I went to prepare dinner. I made cooked pork in a cream sauce with potatoes and cabbage. As I made the final preparations, I heard a horse come plodding up to the stable. I finished setting the table, put the food out on the table, took my apron off, and hurried to the door to greet Link. As he stepped in the door, his eyes looked me up and down. You look ravishing, my love. I thought about you all day long.
Then he reached over, kissed me on the lips, took my hand, and led me into the house.
She's just a girl who claims that I am the one, but the kid isn't that my son.